All right, take a moment to take a listen to this 45 clip from the World Economic Forum discussion group, and then I'll be back to comment on that.
We are, broadly speaking, agreed that we need to get on track towards a net zero, climate safe and nature positive future, but we know this will not be easy. And we're going to need to change behaviors of both individuals, but also the way that our industries and corporations and also our governments work and practice. We're going to need to do this through a mixture of carrots and hopefully perhaps not so many sticks, and some kind of mix. And there's a very active and live debate as to how we go about this. But we're likely to see an increasing move towards a more stick-like interventions into the future as things worsen if we're not able to act.
All right, this is something that has been sort of talked about for a long period of time. You know, there are certain beliefs around climate, certain behaviors that they feel are harmful to the climate, whether it's in relation to fossil fuels or diet or many other issues. And what they've said is, in the past, is we would like to educate people to the point where they will voluntarily change their behavior to obtain perhaps this net zero approach. And you know, we have seen some of the changes that occur. Some people, you know, sort of believe in this and they're willing to change their personal habits and so on and so forth, or how they live their lives. Some corporations have basically, and many of them have manipulated the system to buy so-called carbon credits, and so it becomes a commodity that they can trade and you know, basically profit from in many ways. It creates a new industry where people profit from selling carbon, basically. So there's a lot of sort of like anything, anytime there's some government mandate or some sort of thing that people can manipulate, money will be made on that. And that's largely what we see of this. But the more worrying thing, well, it's all kind of worrying, but the more worrying thing is, you know, you have people like this, and for some reason, I don't know why it is, the men always look like they could use an infusion of masculinity, the guys that seem to promote this stuff. Saying that, you know, because we know that people will not voluntarily, like for instance, cut back on consuming meat, we are going to force the issue. We are going to tax, regulate, you know, make it scarce, put farmers out of business, you know, perhaps make some of these foods inaccessible for a majority of people, either due to pricing or some other, or you know, scarcity or some other metric or method rather. And to me, that is absolutely, you know, I didn't elect this guy from the WEF. I can tell you that. I will not be changing my behaviors, particularly when it comes to what I put in my mouth. I will continue to eat meat on a daily basis until the day I'm dead. And how I have to acquire that will, you know, if it becomes increasingly difficult, I'm willing and prepared to do so. But I think more importantly, you know, we look at around the world, we can look at nations like China where they don't care. They're not going to be doing this stuff. And they have a far larger impact than certainly, you know, North America, Europe, probably all those nations combined in many ways. And so to expect your own nation to delve into austerity, to, you know, basically reduce their quality of life after we spent centuries literally digging ourselves out of the dark ages to where most people have a relatively comfortable life. I mean, you start doing this stuff and people start freezing to death and so on and so forth, or starving to death, or becoming malnourished based on those things. So this is, you know, in my view, pure evil. You know, the whole thing of good intentions gone awry. You know, I hope that all of us can get together and say no thank you, and as strongly and as loudly and as aggressively as we need to let these people know, not only let these people know, to force the issue so that they cannot force us to make sacrifices to lower our quality of life. I mean, that is the point of human flourishing. You know, there's a great book Alex Epstein wrote called Fossil Future, which talks about human flourishing. And certainly, you know, I just saw recently, you know, again, with this madness around, you know, cow farts. I mean, it's basically cow burps, that the UK is now proposing that, well, a lot of people are not going to accept this Bovaer a food supplement because they're concerned about possible health implications, so they're going to refuse to buy it. Whereas UK is saying, well, if that's the case, we're going to mandate it be in all meat and all milk, whether you like it or not. Now, that's not the way a representative government is supposed to work. And if your representatives are failing to act in your interests, throw them out by any means necessary. All right, guys, let me know what you guys think.